darling heart, and welcome to the Drink Less, Live Better podcast. This is the podcast that helps you to see that drinking less doesn't need to be stressful, lonely, or boring. I'm your host, Sarah Williamson, and I decided to have a year alcohol-free as a little life experiment and haven't looked back. With my experience and training, I now help other women with their alcohol-free or drink less adventures. I'm here to tell you that you can be truly joyful without alcohol in your life. Join me here each week to find out how. Today, I'd like to tell you a story about me being the only adult in my house who doesn't drink alcohol. This subject is inspired by a question emailed to sarah@drinklesslivebetter.com. If you've got a subject you'd like to hear me cover in a future podcast, do drop me a message. My husband drinks and I don't, and that is okay with me, most of the time. This whole alcohol-free thing has been a learning curve for everyone in our household. When I decided to do my year-long alcohol-free life experiment, my husband and I discussed it briefly before I started, and it seemed like no big deal for him. It was something I was doing, and he was going to be a bit of a bystander. I never expected him to be a cheerleader. I was making the choice for myself, and I didn't think I needed anyone else to tell me that I was doing a good thing or validate my choice in any way. So I chose to stop drinking in December 2019, and he carried on as he ever did. Oh, screech of brakes. A couple of weeks later. Hang on a sec. What I hadn't articulated out loud, or indeed to myself, was the fact that my brain had assumed that when I stopped drinking, my husband would notice my beautiful Technicolor alcohol-free life and decide that he wanted all the good stuff too, and he would choose to stop drinking as well. In my fantasy world, he'd say, "Oh, darling heart, I've noticed how radiant you look, how happy you are, what an amazing example you're setting for our kids, how much money you've saved, and I want all of this too. I'm ditching the booze." And then we'd dance off into the moonlight to romantic music and congratulate ourselves on how clever we'd been to find this brave new world together. And, dear listener, that is not what happened. At the start of January 2020, I asked him if he fancied doing a dry Jan together, and he said, "No, thank you." In fact, it was actually ruder than that, but that was the gist. In the spring of 2020, I thought I would tell him all the benefits of being alcohol-free so that I wasn't keeping all the secret stuff to myself, and I expected him to then say to me, "Ah yes, the scales have fallen from my eyes. I didn't realise what I was missing out till now. I'm going to join you." And he didn't. So, having suggested that he stop too, and he didn't, and then hoping he would stop without me mentioning it again, and he didn't, I stopped giving it much brain space. My husband drinks a few beers on a Friday and Saturday night, or whenever we go out together. He drinks when we socialise with friends and family, and he tends to get blasted when he goes out with his friends. I don't judge him. I used to do the same, and much, much worse. I don't even wish it was different. A really important thing for me to remember is that I was unhappy with the way that drinking was making me feel, and he isn't experiencing the same feelings as I had. When he cracks open a beer on a Friday night, I make sure that I have a lovely drink at the same time, so it feels like we're still connecting over Friday night chill time. I'll have an alcohol-free G&T or a fancy pants mocktail. When we're in a bar together, I choose a ginger beer or an alcohol-free lager. Some people refer to the moments where your emotional state is shifted momentarily as a trigger. A trigger might affect your ability to remain present in the moment, and it may bring up specific thought patterns or influence your behaviour differently than you would like. If I ever feel myself getting wistful or romanticising the idea of having an alcoholic drink, I have a few sentences in the back of my head I can reach for. I'll share them now. Welcome to the inner workings of my brain. No one ever regretted not drinking the morning after, and I'm delighted with my decision. I'm fueled by the people I'm with and the fun I share with them. Alcohol poisons my body and brain, and tomorrow morning I'll feel fabulous. I choose alcohol-free and joy-filled experiences. If I'm momentarily struggling, I question the struggle, confirm with myself that I'm not giving in this moment, and then I recommit to it by saying inside my head, this moment is fleeting. So, mostly I stay in my own lane with my choice not to drink. I don't try to bring any of my friends or family over to my side of the street on the not drinking front. I see my husband continuing to drink, and I choose not to be affected by his decision. I choose positive words to reframe the situation when I feel a wobble. I stop and breathe. I really breathe for a moment. I choose delicious food and really enjoy it. I check in with my alcohol-free insiders friends and I stand firm. I might question my decision from time to time, but I always come back to it as the right choice. My partner isn't alcohol-free and I am. Together and apart, we are so much more than our drinking habits. Thank you for listening to this episode. Please listen in again next time. You can sign up to my 5-day Drink Less experiment and find out about working with me one-to-one at drinklesslivebetter.com. Thank you, and P.S. I believe in you.